In-laws screamed, my job was a joke, tried to evict me, after 14-hour workdays, learned the hard way. My name alone was on the deed and mortgage. I'm Oliver, a 35-year-old male software developer at a cybersecurity firm that specializes in banking system security. For the past decade, I've been slogging, working 60-plus-hour weeks and sacrificing my 20s. Despite the majority of my college friends were out partying, I saved every dime I could despite living in a tiny apartment with two roommates whose basic cleanliness was questionable at best. One of them practically never did his dishes. They soaked for weeks. But I persevered because I had a goal. Finally, at 28, I purchased my ideal home. Not a palace, but a lovely 3-bedroom ranch on a quiet neighborhood with mature trees and good neighbors. It had a finished basement where I set up my gaming station and home office, a backyard large enough for her, a dog, as was always planned, and a kitchen that did not make me cry every time I cooked. I put down the $80,000 I had saved since graduating from college. My parents contributed $20,000, but I paid them back within 2 years because I didn't want to owe anyone. I was extremely proud of that house and what it represented, attaining something meaningful via hard effort and delayed satisfaction. I met Vanessa, a 34-year-old woman, on Bumble roughly 5 years ago. She appeared calm at first, professing to enjoy hiking and video games and presenting herself as low maintenance on her profile. She had a unique chuckle that I found endearing, and could talk for hours about true crime documentaries, which I was interested in at the time. We dated for a year, relocated swiftly, and married in a courthouse with a little reception at my home. She moved into my house, which I had already owned for 2 years. There were red indicators that I overlooked since I was, frankly, relieved to no longer be single. She worked as an executive assistant, but was frequently absent due to illness. She expected expensive birthday, Christmas, Valentine's and anniversary gifts, but gave me items from the sale rack. Her parents treated her as if she were still 16, and she let them. She had anxiousness, which conveniently flared up whenever there was a duty to be done. She never volunteered to split any household bills and had a strange buying habit that never harmed her limited bank account. I eventually discovered that my credit card was funding it. I arrived home about 6:30 p.m. after meeting a tight deadline. After coding for 14 hours straight to debug a vital security fix, my brain was absolutely fried, and my eyes were burning from gazing at screens all day. Dreaming of resting on my couch and maybe playing some Xbox to unwind, I came into my driveway and had to slam on the brakes due to a pile of junk on my front lawn. This is my stuff. My faded State University hoodie lay in the grass, becoming soaked. My $4,000 vinyl collection, which I had methodically built since high school, was overflowing out of a box, with some albums exposed to the elements. My gaming gadgets, books, clothes, and that silly ceramic owl Vanessa got me on our anniversary. I later realized that the item I purchased with my credit card was resting crookedly on top of the pile. There they were, the in-laws from hell. Linda, 62, and Robert, 65, stood there with smug grins on their faces, as if they had just won the lottery. These people have never worked a real job in their privileged life. Robert handles some family property that he inherited from his father, whereas Linda's entire identity focuses around being Vanessa's mother and shopping at Nordstrom. Both were dressed in luxury clothes and were on my lawn, throwing my belongings around. Vanessa was lingering near the porch, arms crossed, and looking away as if she couldn't meet my gaze. Her body language was a strange combination of defiant and anxious, as if she knew she was doing something wrong but had convinced herself she was justified. Linda started on with her screeching voice, which sounded like a nail gun hitting sheet metal, before I could even open my car door. There he is. Finally, the worthless bum. This from a woman who previously told me at Thanksgiving that true men buy their spouses Tiffany bracelets just because, and that my career in computer stuff wasn't noteworthy because anyone can do it now. I felt a strange calm wash over me, like deep sea pressure or something. A peculiar clarity occurs when everything suddenly makes perfect sense. I exited carefully, not rushing. Robert puffed up his chest, like he often does when he wants to frighten someone. He's been living off his father's money his entire life, yet he acts like he's a self-made industrial titan. He has business cards that read entrepreneur investor, yet I've never seen him accomplish any of those things. Okay, Oliver, this isn't working, he shouted at me in his, I'm talking to the waitstaff who brought me the wrong appetizer tone. Get out, we're changing the locks tomorrow, and this is now Vanessa's house. Our daughter deserves stability and security, not you, he said dismissively. The guy who works 60 or more hours per week to pay for everything is the problem. Vanessa finally spoke up, her voice low and thin in that baby girl tone she uses when she wants something expensive. Oliver, it is over. I told you things weren't right, and Mom and Dad agree. It's best if you leave my house. My house? The one I purchased with a down payment 5 years before I swiped right on her profile. The one where solely my name appears on the deed, mortgage, and everything. The one I had spent thousands of dollars refurbishing piece by piece. New water heater, deck repair, and dishwasher replacement, all while she complained that we weren't prioritizing cosmetic repairs for her Instagram images. Her parents had probably paid me a visit 4 times before she moved in, always acting as if they were doing me a tremendous favor by honoring me with their presence and making comments about how I should really upgrade. The countertops are asking, "When are you getting a pool put in?" Never offering to chip in, of course. One time, Robert actually said, "When Vanessa fully moves in, we should talk about proper window treatments for this place." It was as if I was living in an unfinished construction site rather than a perfectly nice home. And suddenly, it's Vanessa's house. The mental gymnastics were Olympic level. Linda charged at me, finger slashing the air, her expensive manicure gleaming in the evening sun. She had a self-righteous expression on her face, as if she were passing heavenly judgment. "You heard her. Get out. You aren't welcome here, you worthless bum. This is our daughter's house now." She then kicked one of my boxes for emphasis. My ancient Psychology 101 textbook skidded over the moist grass and landed in a puddle from the morning rain. That's when the insanity struck me. I began laughing, not just a chuckle, but a full-throated, slightly insane laugh that astonished even me. It resonated around the peaceful street. Here was this 62-year-old woman, who I'd seen spend $600 on lunch without blinking, throwing my college textbook around like a tough enforcer in a lousy gangster movie. Linda's jaw literally fell. Robert blinked stupidly. Vanessa flinched as though I had screamed at her. "My house?" I blurted out, wiping my tears. "Vanessa's house. Wow. Did I miss the closing? Was there a memo? Because last I checked, I'm the only one who's paid a single penny toward this mortgage. I'm the only name on the deed. I've never seen any of you write a check for property taxes, insurance, or repairs." The neighbors across the street had come out onto their porch, watching the show. "Don't you dare mock us," Robert exclaimed, puffing up again. His actual Rolex tragically glinted as he gesticulated frantically. "This is only fair. Vanessa dedicated years to you. She deserves this house for everything she's put up with." "Put up with what?" I replied, my face burning but my voice steady. "My stable job, paying all the bills, the vacations I've funded, the $4,000 handbag I bought her for her birthday that she used twice before deciding it was last season?" Linda exclaimed, her voice rising to a pitch that most likely disturbed satellite signals. "You clearly don't appreciate her. You work constantly. You're never home. We're stepping in to ensure she has what she deserves." "Right?" I asked, the laughter gone and replaced by frost in my veins. I took out my phone. "What are you doing?" Vanessa inquired, panic in her eyes. For the first time she appeared unsure of herself. "Call the people who handle property disputes," I said calmly. "Trespassing specifically. You know, the police." I'd never contacted the cops in my life, but this was crazy. "Don't you dare," Linda screamed, her voice striking a note that likely disturbed bats in the neighboring county. "This is a family matter. We don't need to involve outsiders." "Not when you're on my property throwing my stuff around," I said, calling 911. "Not when you're trying to illegally evict me from a house that I own, outright, with no legal claim whatsoever. That's actually a crime, by the way." Vanessa started crying. Those practicing tears that emerged whenever she didn't obtain what she wanted. The same tears that flowed when I told her we couldn't afford a $3,000 purse or recommended she contribute to our joint savings account on sometimes. "Oliver, please don't do this. We can talk about it. I just need some space right now." "And Mom and Dad thought they could steal my house," I said for her. "Yeah. I gathered that part." As I described the issue to the dispatcher, I noticed Robert whispering quickly to Linda, whose face was turning an alarming shade of crimson. Vanessa merely stood there, perhaps understanding that her great plan was unraveling before her eyes. The neighbors were staring now. Mrs. Collins from next door had come out with her phone, possibly recording. Great. By the morning, this would have spread throughout the neighborhood Facebook group. I gently supplied my address and indicated that 3 people were trespassing, refusing to leave, moving my stuff onto the lawn, and claiming ownership of my home. Linda could be heard in the background, virtually gargling with wrath, yelling at me to go. "My name is on the deed and mortgage. I've lived here for 7 years. They're trying to illegally evict me," I stated to the dispatcher, who appeared to have heard it all before. Robert approached me, his face going scarlet from his pricey haircut. He was muttering something about talking reason into me. Robert, I wouldn't, I said, raising my free hand. Stay there. Adding assault to the mix won't look good for you. He paused, then stopped. Robert's entire tough guy persona breaks apart the moment there are genuine consequences. He's used to bullying people with his money and connections while avoiding actual consequences. Vanessa appeared to be in a panic. Not unhappy or upset, but terrified, as if someone's plan was about to fail. Oliver, please hang up. Just go stay with your brother Michael for a few days. We can talk later. I promise we'll work something out. Talk about what, Vanessa? My voice wasn't strong. The betrayal felt like someone punching me in the stomach. After 3 years of marriage, this is what it boiled down to. The part where you conspired with your parents to illegally force me out of the house I own, or the part where you stood by as they threw my life on the lawn? Which part deserves clarification? She grimaced. Physically winced. Mom, Dad, maybe we should go. We can come back tomorrow with... We're not going anywhere, Linda said, adjusting her fashionable sunglasses despite the fact that the sun had almost set. This is your house, Vanessa. Don't be weak now. He's bluffing about the police. I wasn't kidding. The flashing lights appeared soon. 2 autos and 4 officers. Our neighborhood isn't exactly high crime, so I'm guessing they were bored. They took in the scene, me beside my car, my belongings spread across the lawn, and the trio on the porch. They separated us. 2 cops spoke with Linda, Robert and Vanessa, while the remaining 2 spoke with me. I described the case, displayed my license with the correct location, pulled up photographs of the deed from my phone, and stated that it was exclusively my premarital. I showed them my key in the lock and years of mortgage statements from my banking app. The senior officer listened and nodded, his expression unreadable. He eventually rejoined the other gang. I couldn't hear everything, but I did catch parts. Legal resident, civil matter for the courts. Must vacate the premises immediately. Vanessa was crying again, this time wrapped in Linda's arms. Robert was puffing up his chest, discussing misconceptions and how I was psychologically disturbed. Classic Robert, attempting to change reality when things do not go his way. I've seen him do this several times at family gatherings, rewriting the story so that he appears to be the hero. Not this time, Robert. Not at my residence. Mrs. Collins was clearly recording now, and she wasn't attempting to be subtle about it. The neighbors across the way had taken out their lawn chairs. Great supper and show. The senior officer, a man with salt and pepper hair and the calm expression of someone who has witnessed every type of human foolishness, eventually returned to me. Sir, we've explained the situation to them. This is clearly your residence and they have no legal right to remove you or your belongings. They need to leave immediately. I nodded, relieved. Thank you, officer. However, he replied, I should note that this is ultimately a civil matter. If there are disputes about property ownership, those need to be settled in court. I understand, you replied, but there's no dispute. The house is solely in my name, purchased before marriage. He nodded. That seems straightforward. Then what happened next will always be one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. Linda went completely nuts when the officers informed them they had to leave. Her complexion turned a strange shade of purple, which contrasted severely with her clearly dyed blonde hair. It's her marital home, he can't just kick her out. We're not leaving, she said, gesturing frantically. Do you know who we are in this community? Robert puffed up again, adjusting his Rolex as if it granted him superpowers. We're staying to protect our daughter. This man is unstable. Rich, coming from the guy who once told me at Christmas that prenuptial agreements are for men without balls after I casually mentioned a friend having one. The officer's patience rapidly dwindled. Ma'am, sir, this isn't optional. This is his property according to the ID provided and his legal statement. You are trespassing. You need to leave now. Linda put her luxury shoes on my yard and simply stated, no. Then she continued, do you know who my husband is? We have connections in this town. We play golf with Judge Reynolds. They do not. They live 45 minutes away in a McMansion, which is probably underwater. And Judge Reynolds resigned 3 years ago. That was it. One officer forcibly grabbed Linda's arm. She screamed like she was being murdered and tried to flee, yelling, how dare you touch me? I'll have your badge. Another officer firmly directed Robert to the pavement. It was not hard, but it was decisive. Robert kept stating, this is outrageous, in a phony dignified tone, while threatening to terminate my career and dismiss the officers. They were physically taken off my property, making threats and slurs all the way. You'll regret this. We'll see you in court. Vanessa deserves everything. You're nothing without her. Your job is a joke. Your family is trash. Vanessa trailed behind them, head down, crying those precisely timed tears she usually uses when she doesn't get what she wants. The same tears she shed when I refused to spend my 401k on the ideal European vacation her parents told her she deserved. She didn't look at me once, instead following her parents like a trained robot. The officers made sure they got into their car, a BMW X5, which Robert likes to highlight is always fully loaded, which was parked suspiciously down the street, as if they knew they were up to something. As they drove away, one officer turned to me and said, "Sir, I'd recommend changing your locks as soon as possible and documenting everything if there are further incidents." I nodded and thanked them greatly for their assistance. As they walked away, my phone burst with texts, missed calls and voicemails. Linda's involuntary outburst. "You pathetic excuse for a man. My daughter deserves your house and everything in it. You will pay for humiliating us. I thought you were a better man than this, Oliver. After everything our daughter did for you. After we welcomed you into our family." Translation: after I paid for their anniversary meal last year and repaired Robert's laptop for free several times. Vanessa's groaning messages. "Oliver, please call me. It's not what it looks like. My parents were just worried about me. We can fix this. I'm at the Marriott and it's so uncomfortable. I miss our bed." I disregarded them all. I carefully retrieved every object from the lawn, checking for damage. I discovered a unique first pressing of Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon that has water damage on the cover. I noticed her Instagram open on our shared iPad. She'd already shared a tearful selfie with the statement, "Sometimes the people you trust the most betray you." And her parents had commented with encouraging platitudes. There are already more than 40 likes. I hauled everything back inside, locked the door and searched each room for anything else missing or damaged. My first call the following morning was to a locksmith. It cost $450 to change each lock. My second stop was to the meanest divorce lawyer in town, who directed me to Mr. Turner. They truly believed this would work, that I'd simply hand over a $520,000 property I purchased with my own money to their beloved princess. Incredibly unbelievable. It has been 3 weeks since the yard incident, and things have become nasty. First and foremost, thank you for all of your comments and support on my last article. RIP, inbox. But seriously, it's comforting to know I'm not the only one who has dealt with psychotic in-laws attempting to claim stuff that isn't theirs. I met with my lawyer, Mr. Turner, a smart, focused ex-military man who doesn't take crap from anyone. His workspace exudes a minimalist aura that says, "I will destroy your enemies without using a single threatening word." I laid out the entire story. Documentation in hand, deed, mortgage, and tax bills, all predate Vanessa, and are wholly mine. I've been paying $2,250 each month for the mortgage for years, while she has contributed exactly zero. She never offered to help pay for property taxes or home insurance. He reaffirmed my position with kick-ass confidence. The home is a distinct property. This concludes the conversation. Legally, Vanessa could have a theoretical claim to a small slice of appreciation if she could demonstrate significant direct contribution, which Turner claimed was about as possible as me becoming the next Batman. Based on the information I gave, I paid for everything significant. Mortgage, property taxes, homeowner's insurance, and any repairs. When the water heater failed, I lost $1,300. When we needed a new refrigerator, I paid $2,200. It cost me a $5,000 fee, but seeing Turner organize the legal smackdown was well worth it. The man literally took notes in what appeared to be military shorthand, nodding sometimes with a little predatory smirk. He began drafting the divorce petition immediately, alleging irreconcilable differences, but providing a factual narrative of the lawn event to contextualize her behavior. "We are identifying a pattern of entitlement and attempted property theft," he explained with a small smile, which gave me chills. Judges dislike seeing this type of behavior. The harassment did not end. It simply mutated into a multi-headed hydra of gibberish. Continuous calls at all hours. Caller ID is my pal. I'd wake up with 17 missed calls from various numbers, all of which turned out to be them. Text messages ranged from Linda's all-caps threats. "No one treats my daughter this way. We have friends in this town." To Robert's attempts at manipulation. "Think of the good times. Oliver, don't throw it all away. We can work something out where everyone wins." Translation: where they win. Vanessa's pitiful plea. "Oliver, please talk to me. I miss you. I didn't mean for it to go this far. Mom and Dad just want what's best for me. I need some of my things." Then Julia, Vanessa's 38-year-old sister, joined the fray. For context, Julia has always considered herself the family fixer. But she is actually the family bully. She was the one who informed me at Thanksgiving that I shouldn't expect to be treated like family until I proved myself worthy, whatever that meant. She began by sending false lovely texts. "Oliver, honey, you need to talk to Sophie. This is tearing her apart. She's lost 5 pounds from stress." Meanwhile, Vanessa's Instagram showed her out for brunch with pals, looking good, sipping mimosas and smiling. When I ignored those, the claws emerged. Angry greetings. "You gutless coward. Answer the phone, who do you think you are? Do you know what this is doing to my parents? They're devastated. Vanessa is a wreck. You always were selfish. But this is a new low even for you." The doorbell began ringing one evening while I was on a work call regarding a key security patch. Non-stop. Ding dong, ding dong. I checked the video doorbell. Julia was furious. "She is carrying an expensive purse on her arm. I wonder who paid for that." I ignored it. Then the banging began, loud enough to vibrate the door frames. I had to mute myself during my call. "Oliver. Open this damn door, you pathetic coward. You think you can just kick her out after everything? After all my family has done for you?" They once brought a $7 bottle of wine to dinner and pretended they paid for my college degree. The projection was fantastic. I saved the video, called the non-emergency line, referred to the previous incident, and emailed the footage. The cops paid a visit. Officer Martinez, who deserves a medal for his patience, subsequently told me that Julia tried to convince him that I was mentally disturbed and was holding Vanessa's family antiques hostage. Julia's blatant harassment ended after what I assumed was a come-to-Jesus lecture from Officer Martinez. But I knew she wasn't done. These folks are like termites. They simply find a new way in. Psychological warfare became more nuanced. I received a fraud warning on my AMX for a $3,900 Louis Vuitton purchase that I did not make. I caught it and canceled the card. My bank sent me an alert about a stopped suspicious login attempt to my retirement accounts. I updated the passwords everywhere and used double authentication. These vultures were attempting to drain my finances. Then came a barrage of junk mail for Vanessa at my address. Bridal magazines, "We are getting divorced," parenting catalogs, "We have no children." She constantly said she wasn't prepared. Credit card offers abound. Turner added that this was most likely an attempt to establish residency or build a paper trail, making it appear as if she still lived here. I marked everything, returned to sender. Address no longer resides here, and threw it away. Robert and Linda began with slow, frightening drive-bys of the house in their BMW X5, financed according to my neighbor who works at the dealership. Then Robert escalated, slowing down while I was mowing the lawn and shouted, "Enjoy it while you can. You'll be in an apartment soon." Before rushing away, it felt like something from a horrible movie. I invested $1,200 on a full security system that included 4 high-definition cameras monitoring every angle of my property. Best investment ever. The disinformation campaign became nuclear. My brother Michael called, claiming Julia had attacked him at work, launching into a diatribe about how I was unstable, abusive, controlling, and had dumped Vanessa destitute after allegedly having an affair with a coworker. Michael not only knows me, but he has witnessed Vanessa draining my accounts for girls' excursions to Vegas, only to cry when I requested receipts. He vented to Julia. "I've watched your sister spend his money for years while contributing nothing, so forgive me if I don't believe a word you're saying. They're clearly trying to poison anyone who might support me." I received a text from Claire, Vanessa's cousin, who is quietly sympathetic because Vanessa once took her lover. That blew my head. Linda was surrounding relatives at a family meal 3 weeks before the yard incident, bragging about how they were handling things and getting Vanessa the house she deserved. Oliver doesn't realize it yet, but that house will be Vanessa's by summer. Robert has everything planned out. The pre-planning was confirmed. This was a premeditated attack from the start. Vanessa engaged the most ambulance-chasing divorce lawyer in town. Her internet evaluations contain complaints about exaggerated bills. She sent Turner a formal demand letter requesting 80% of the house's current value, $520,000, so $416,000 to her, $7,800 per month in spousal support, more than I actually make after taxes, all furniture in the house, including items I owned before marriage, my car, which is paid off, unlike hers, my retirement account's worth approximately $180,000, which I've been building since before I met her, And my payment of her legal fees, apparently already at $15,000. The balls are on these individuals. Simply incredible amounts of entitlement. Turner's response was very cold. He did not simply send a letter. He convened a conference with her lawyer, filmed it with her agreement, and meticulously deconstructed each claim while citing pertinent case law. He repeated the house's non-negotiable separate property status. CC'd the deed again, cited the police records on the eviction attempt and Julia's harassment, and declared that spousal support was out of the question given her behavior and our brief marriage. The best part, Turner had completed his homework. He obtained Vanessa's credit report, legal during divorce procedures, and discovered that she had acquired 3 new credit cards in the 2 months preceding the lawn incident, maxed them all out. $37,000 total, and made minimal payments from our joint account. He showed proof that she had been preparing this for months, gradually depleting common resources while plotting to seize my separate property. This pattern of financial behavior, Turner told her lawyer, will be presented to the court as evidence of premeditated attempts to defraud Mr. My last name, prior to a planned attempt to seize his separate property. The lawyer's face appeared to become white. Turner agreed to consider the split of actual marital assets, such as joint funds, but only once the housing issue was officially resolved and we got a complete accounting of where the $37,000 credit card debt went. I blocked all of their numbers. Lawyers handle all communication these days. This is stressful, I won't lie. Some nights I don't sleep well, staring at the ceiling and wondering how someone I've shared a bed with for 3 years could do this. But every outrageous demand, every botched stunt only strengthens my resolve. They expected me to crumble. A big mistake. They assumed they were dealing with a pushover who would abandon his home to avoid conflict. Instead, they discovered I'm the type of guy who will spend his last dollar to ensure justice is served. Guys, it's about to be served hot. Get some popcorn for this one. It's finished. Finally, everything is completed and officially done. The divorce is finalized. The penalties for Team Gold Digger are biblical. The last few months have been a legal circus, but Turner, my lawyer, was well worth his $375 hourly charge. Julia, Vanessa's sister, tried one final stunt after being shut down by my workplace's HR for sending harassing letters claiming I was emotionally abusive, which Turner documented. She created a false Instagram profile using my name and images, posted racist content, and DM'd our mutual acquaintances saying I was on drugs. It resulted in a temporary headache. When a screenshot was shared, I had to explain it to my employer, but it was awkward and evident. Turner issued a cease and desist letter, threatening criminal penalties for identity theft. We reported the profile. It was nuked. That seems to finally hush Julia. Linda and Robert continued their sympathy tour, telling anybody who would listen that I was financially abusing their daughter by not giving her my home. However, it lost pace when people discovered these so-called upstanding folks were essentially attempting to perpetrate real estate fraud. When mutual friends saw the police body cam film of them being taken off my house, their narrative of the abusive husband pushing out poor Vanessa fell apart. Yeah. Turner subpoenaed that. Absolute boss move. The legal procedure slowed as Vanessa's lawyer, some ambulance chaser Robert discovered, filed motion after motion. Requests for discovery, in which Vanessa was unable to produce a single document confirming her financial contribution to the residence. Conference scheduling. Her lawyer continued to press for mediation focusing on the house. Turner shut it down every time with 3 simple words. Separate premarital assets. Finally, in a pre-trial settlement conference, confronted with no legal standing on the property, documented harassment, and the court basically signaling, "Stop wasting my time," Vanessa's counsel advised her to cut her losses. The revenge is legal, pecuniary, and served cold. This is where it gets good. The divorce decree was painfully simple as Turner predicted from the beginning. The residence validated my separate premarital property. There is no equity split, there is no buyout, off the table. Spousal support was rejected. The justification noted the short time of the marriage, recorded wrongdoing, the lawn incident, harassment, and assets. We shared the joint savings, which totaled $12,000 and was primarily my money. She receives her own belongings. That is it. But here's the cherry on top. Turner discovered that Robert had loaned Vanessa $65,000 during the previous year, which explains her odd shopping sprees and her new boob job, which I apparently did not appreciate enough. Turner successfully claimed that this was an attempt to hide and deplete marital assets. Because these transfers occurred when our marriage was suffering, the judge agreed and ordered Vanessa to refund me $32,500, half of the total, from her portion of our assets. Vanessa contacted me sobbing after the ruling. It turns out that Daddy's loan wasn't actually a present. Robert expected to be paid back from the house money they were confident they would receive from me. She now owes him $65,000 and me $32,500. Has no job. She quit her administrative work in March, thinking she'd be set for life, and Robert and Linda are outraged. Here's where things get even better. Remember the fancy clothes and jewelry Vanessa kept buying? Turner suggested that I get an inventory of stuff purchased throughout our marriage. Anything I bought with my married salary is technically marital property. I received half the worth of her Cartier bracelets, Louis Vuitton luggage, and whole Sephora collection, total worth to me, $18,000. It was wonderful to see her expression when she discovered how much her shopping addiction had cost her. The trouble with your belongings. Vanessa refused requests to pick up her belongings for weeks, possibly believing she would be moving back in. Turner recommended skilled packing and storage to avoid allegations of damage. I paid the original storage expenses up advance to get her crap out of my house. She declined to pay the recurring storage expenses. I allowed the unit to be auctioned after providing adequate legal notice. Someone purchased her treasured collection of designer shoes for $350. It's not fun to be her. The financial collapse. Absolute perfection. Vanessa's credit is ruined because she maxed out all of her credit cards. Linda and Robert co-signed a lease for a $3,800 per month luxury apartment for her, relying on the house payment. Vanessa now has no employment and owes nearly $100,000, forcing Linda and Robert to fund her rent. My friend who works at Robert's bank, yeah, I know, small world, told me privately that Robert needed to take out a HELOC on his own home to fund their quickly rising bills. Then last week, the begging began. First of all, Vanessa. Oliver, please, I'm desperate. My parents are going to kick me out. I have nowhere to go. I made a terrible mistake listening to them. Can we please talk? I still love you. Then, unbelievably, Robert called from a blocked number. Look, we may have overstepped. Perhaps we can work out an arrangement. Vanessa is really struggling. Translation. Assist us in cleaning up the mess we created. Linda sent me an email, which served as the ultimate humiliation. Oliver, I know we've had our disagreements, but Vanessa is in a very bad place right now. Perhaps we could meet for coffee and discuss how to move forward in a way that benefits everyone. Robert and I are willing to be reasonable. This from the woman who called me worthless and attempted to steal my house. I forwarded all messages to Turner, who responded with an official letter stating that any additional contact would constitute harassment and result in a restraining order. He provided copies of the original police report, which showed them attempting to illegally evict me, as a pleasant reminder. They are absolutely secluded. My buddies, who had initially remained impartial, eventually apologized after seeing the facts. Vanessa's pals discovered that she was using them for free dinners and weekend crash pads and cut her off. They attempted to organize a fundraising for her legal bills. 3 individuals arrived, including Julia. How am I doing? Absolutely fantastic. I upgraded my gaming PC with the money I saved instead of funding her buying habit. I shed 15 pounds of stress weight. I was promoted at work. It turns out that focusing on your career rather than dealing with entitled in-laws has advantages. I purchased a German Shepherd puppy named Justice. I went there. I began dating a corporate attorney who believes Vanessa and her dad committed textbook real estate fraud and were borderline criminals. The house feels like mine again. I painted the living room the color Vanessa despised, transformed her meditation room, which she only used twice, into a functional home office, and built the garish hot tub she complained about in the rear. They attempted to take everything. They ended up with crippling debt, strained relationships, and a lasting record of attempted fraud. I have my house, my sanity, and the joy of knowing that every time they see a BMW like mine driving by, they are reminded of how badly their scheme failed. Justice is more than simply a name for my dog. It's what happens when entitled people play around and find out.